Plastic surgery's gone horribly wrong. 2017, Sayer Tabar started getting really famous for changing up her look like crazy. People thought she was trying to look like Angelina Jolie, but her look went from this to this because she was actually trying to look like the Corpse Bride. So do you guys think she looked better before or after surgery? You won't believe what creatures they found living inside her body. 2019, this 29-year-old Taiwanese lady woke up with extreme pain in her eye. So she rushed to the doctor to figure out what was going on. As the doctor started seeing what was going on, he saw little legs coming out of the eyelid and found 4 bees living in her eyeball. They were living on her tears. You will not believe how these 2 fishermen lost their life. 1986, 2 fishermen went missing in Lake Erie. The Coast Guard came to rescue them, but at the exact same time, there was a charity event in downtown Cleveland that launched off 1.5 million balloons. These balloons floated in the sky, but the wind pushed them back down. They wound up landing in the lake, completely covering the surface. The balloons completely blocked the visibility of the rescue pilots, and these fishermen were sadly never able to be found. Animals that saved people's lives. Con the Doberman was just rescued 4 days ago from the animal shelter when he was playing outside with Sally, who was only 4 years old and sensed something was really wrong. Sally was screaming because there was a venomous snake coiled up, ready to attack her. So Con takes off in a dead sprint and knocks the girl out of the way, but he got bit by the snake and had to be rushed to the vet. Fortunately, he was okay and he was hailed a hero, giving him the name Con the Wonder Dog. You will not believe what creature they found living inside her body. Selvi is a 42-year-old Indian woman who was awakened in the middle of the night to severe pain in her forehead and eyes. The pain was so severe she decided to go to the emergency room. She went to 1, 2, 3 emergency rooms and they all told her that she just had a sinus headache and she should just go back to sleep, but she was in so much pain she went to a 4th hospital where they started looking into it deeper. Started looking up her nose and oh my god. Doctor couldn't believe what creature he saw living inside of her. He saw that a cockroach had actually crawled up her nose all the way up into her skull and was going up into her brain. He tried suctioning it out but didn't work because the cockroach was holding on by its little pricklers here. So he had to reach up in there with really long forceps, grab it, and yank it out of the brain. The cockroach came out and it was still alive. Creature living in her body. Just last week, a 25-year-old Japanese woman was out eating sushi with her friends and having a great time, but when she got home that night, she started feeling some pain in her throat. After 5 days of pain, she finally decided to go and see a doctor, and oh my gosh, when he shined the light down her throat, he saw this worm living in her throat, and when they pulled it out, they had to use tweezers, and it was over 4 inches long. This is why you should never play hide and seek in the dark. Brother and sister in Japan decided to play hide and seek in the dark when their parents went out for dinner. The sister started counting down from 20 while the brother ran and hid in the best spot he knew. She finished counting, ran upstairs, and looked all over the house for him, and she couldn't find him anywhere until she saw the door of the closet slightly open. She yells, "I know you're in there." He doesn't say anything back, so she starts to go in the closet, and then she feels his hand reach out and grab her, but he's still not saying anything. All of a sudden, her brother comes up behind her and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she realizes she's holding on to this crazy, creepy, ghostly hand. Her brother pulls her out of the clutch of the hand, and they run outside until their parents come home later that night. You won't believe what this guy swallowed. In 2017, this 28-year-old man was having a relaxing day fishing. He had just caught a fish and was super proud, but then he went to give it a kiss for the picture, and the unthinkable happened. The fish slipped out of his hands and went down his throat, and he started choking. By the time the paramedics arrived, he had stopped breathing, and they had to do CPR to resuscitate him. After doing many chest compressions, the fish shot out of his mouth, and fortunately, this guy survived. You won't believe how big of a mistake this husband made. In 1905, this guy got mad at his wife for how terrible she cooked macaroni, and she got so mad she left and said she would rather die than ever come back. After a few days go by, he starts to get really worried, and that's when he gets a call from the cops saying they may have found his wife's body. He goes to the morgue to identify the body, and this is where it gets crazy. The coroner asked if he recognized the woman, and he said, "Yes, I recognize the clothes, but she looks a little different than my wife." The coroner said that death changes the way you look a little bit, and so the husband agreed that it was definitely his wife. So they get her dressed in her wedding dress and have the funeral the next day where everyone mourns and is so mad at the husband for causing her death. A few days go by, and the husband sees what appears to be his wife in his house, but she was just buried. He finds out that it actually is his wife, and they buried the wrong body. You won't believe what happened after she was caught cheating. In 2016, Kelly Cochran was having an affair on her husband. Came home early from work one day, and he found another man in his bed with his wife, and he did the unthinkable. He actually shot and killed this man, but this is where the story gets wild. Kelly is so angry that she wants to get revenge, so she drugs up her husband and suffocates him. Now she has to dig a hole for 2 bodies. And then police find out while investigating the crime that Kelly was so sick and demented she took pieces of her husband and her lover's body and she grilled them out during a friend's barbecue and served them to her neighbors. High school prank gone horribly wrong. In 2008, a couple high high school boys brought in some delicious brownies and put them in the teacher lounge for all the teachers to have. But as soon as the teachers started enjoying these brownies, they started feeling horrible with terrible stomach pain. Turns out the boys put an extreme amount of laxatives in these brownies, and all the teachers were rushing to the bathroom, and even some had to be rushed to the emergency room because the laxatives had actually poisoned them. You will not believe what creature they found living inside his body. In 2007, Aaron Dallas had just gotten back from a trip to Belize when his head started itching really bad. Over the next week, he tried everything to make the itch go away, but eventually he just had to go to the hospital. As the doctor was examining his scalp, he couldn't believe what he found living inside his head. Just in case TikTok gets banned, I'm trying out this new app. Links in my bio if you want to check it out. Doctor actually found 4 of these giant maggots living under his scalp. Plastic surgery gone too far. Justin Jedlicka never liked the way he looked, was super self-conscious about his nose, so when he turned 18, he got a nose job. And from there, he just kept getting more and more surgeries done, and he was trying to look like the Ken doll, but he spent over $600,000 modifying his body and his face, and he says that he's still not done. He wasn't a bad-looking dude, I don't understand. High school bully gets instant karma. Austin is a 16-year-old boy who went to high school in Southern California, and for some reason, a bully at the school would pick on him because he was blind, and one day, this bully grabbed Austin and started to punch him after school for no reason. And Cody, who was 17, saw this and immediately threw the bully down to the ground and told him to never do this again. Crazy thing is, the bully didn't even get in trouble, and Cody, the one that saved Austin from the bully, got suspended from school. You won't believe who this guy dated. Yuma is a 25-year-old from Japan who was in love with Lisa, but he fantasized about being with her forever, but the problem was Lisa was a cockroach. Even weirder, when Lisa died after a year of their relationship, he decided to eat her because he said he wanted her to live with him forever. You won't believe what creature was living in his body. Nan is a 56-year-old Chinese man who went in for a special spa service where you submerge your body in this tank with thousands of eels and they're supposed to pick off the dead skin. But as Nan was enjoying his spa time, one of these really slippery creatures started to go into his you-know-what down there, and he jumped out of the pool and he tried pulling it out, but it was so slippery it went poof right up inside him. By the time they got to the hospital to do emergency surgery, it had gone all the way up into his bladder, and they pulled it out, and it was 6 inches long. Plastic surgery gone horribly wrong. Rachel Napier is a 29-year-old who wasn't gonna get plastic surgery, but she went to one of these things called a Botox party, and this is where things go horribly wrong. After a couple drinks, she's like, all right, let's do it. So they inject her lip, but shortly after they inject her lip, she has intense pain in her mouth. She actually has to be rushed to the hospital, and when she gets there, oh my gosh, look at what happened. They did the injection on her lip, they accidentally hit an artery, and then her lip swelled up like this. This photo's 3 weeks later. You will not believe this actually happened. In South Africa, this pregnant deer was about to give birth to her baby when this cheetah starts chasing after her. The mom deer can't run any longer, has to stop and give birth to her little baby, and then the cheetah comes up, and just before the cheetah gets to eat, the cheetah feels bad for the little baby and decides it's gonna raise it as its own, and over the course of time, they become best friends. This is the world's most beautiful creature. This creature is unique in that only the male version of this creature is the most beautiful for whatever reason. This creature has some of the craziest colors I've ever seen. First, I'll show you the female version, then I'll show you the male. This is a mandarin duck right here. This is the female. Now wait for the male. Wow, isn't it so pretty? Just want to pinch its cheeks. One man catches his girlfriend cheating and gets crazy revenge. Ryan Fitzgerald was a tattoo artist who caught his girlfriend cheating but played it cool because she wanted a tattoo. This scene from Narnia on her back, so he brought her into the tattoo shop to give her this Narnia tattoo. He was super excited to get her tattoo, but little did she know what he was actually putting on her back. If you guys like these stories, make sure you follow for more. Straight up drew an entire poop emoji on her back in permanent tattoo. It's a disturbing story of a body found in the basement. 2019, Pennsylvania State Police found 90-year-old Glenora dead in the basement. But the crazy part is her daughter Cynthia had been keeping her in a freezer for 15 years because she was collecting her social security money to live on. Please don't tell me you guys have bodies in the basement. Won't believe what happened after she was caught cheating. Jake found out that his wife Sarah was cheating on him with one of the neighbors because he came home from work one day, but instead of confronting her right away, he decided to wait and do something very mean. He went into the shower and he replaced her shampoo with Max Strength Nair hair remover. Next time she showered, she had no idea what was happening, but then I kind of feel bad for her, but she lost all of her hair. And they broke up.